This episode is brought to you by AutoFi.
I have to be true to the word. And the word is what I said to myself in the mirror. I said, Adam, you're the effing problem. And that was the moment that everything changed in my life.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Dealer Playbook. Sitting down with my pal, my friend, who is a giant, not just mentally, spiritually, and in real life. If you see us standing side by side, I'm sitting down with Adam Marburger. He is the author of You're the Effing Problem. And by the way, that's exactly what we're talking about today. How to get out of your own way. Stay tuned. My man, Adam, what's going on? Thanks for joining me.
Hey, not much. Happy to be here as always, hanging out with you. It's always a good time.
Let me ask you this. At what point in have you always been this articulate? Like when I want to speak like you know, like every word is clear, every sentence, you have a tone and an intonation that makes people want to follow you. Is that organic? Did you develop, like, I don't know. How does this happen?
That's a great question. First of all, that's a great comp. I don't think anybody's ever said that to me. So I'm kind of like blushing a little bit, to be honest. I'm a recovering car salesman, F&I manager. Okay. So yeah, I do a lot of things in a lot of industries, but I'm a car salesman, and everything I ever learned in the business world came from that. So wherever it was, God's given ability came through the automotive industry. So yeah.
I love it, man. I'm shocked that nobody said that to you, because you do. Every sentence is clear. I know where the period of the sentence is. I know where the next sentence, like it's just, I like it. Very compelling to listen to. And I love how you say that, like, not many people refer to God in the car business, like that God works through the car business, but here we are. You and I both know that's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right before we hit record, I was reminded of the book you wrote. You mentioned you're working on another book. Maybe we'll dig into that a little bit later. You're the effing problem. At what point in your development, in your career, do you realize, holy crap, I'm the problem?
It's a wonderful question. And I can sum this up relatively quickly. 2019, a lot of bad things happened, series of loss. February, my stepfather passed away, 2019. April the 1st, April Fool's Day, my business partner and best friend actually committed suicide. The following month, my grandfather, who was the patriarch of the family, passed away. Then the following month, June, filed for divorce, married for 13 years, right? So I went from living the dream into a spare bedroom at my mom's house, who's grieving the loss of her husband, which I'm grieving the loss of her husband, who's my stepdad, along with these other losses. I self-destructed until August 2019. And the day I realized that I had to do something, I had a conversation with myself as I was brushing my teeth. And the reason I titled this book, because listen, I love Jesus. I'm on Team Jesus. I'm not afraid to talk about that. But I've got fellow Christians like, how dare you title your book that? And let me tell you a little something here. I have to be true to the word. And the word is what I said to myself in the mirror. I said, Adam, you're the effing problem. And that was the moment that everything changed in my life. And that's why I titled my book that, because that's exactly what I said to myself. And I had to make the decision to get out of my own way and make better decisions and roll with people like you to get out of the slump that I was ultimately in.
You know what I love about that? I mean, 2019 is not that far gone. Like it's right here still. We can touch it. It's right there. To see on the backside of taking responsibility, because that's really what I get from that statement. I can just see you there staring in the mirror, looking at yourself, thinking, man, something's got to change. And then this aha moment, right? Something powerful and swift happens on the backside of just taking and accepting responsibility. What does that look like for you? So take me into that moment now. You've just looked in the mirror. You said, you're the effing problem. What happens next?
So it was the most profound time in my life. Like I could feel, I knew in my heart what I had to do. And then I started immediately making the right decisions. The first thing that I did was I looked at my circle, and I looked at my inner circle and then outer circle. And the inner circle was filled with individuals that were not helping me. I was literally going backwards. So I started not like cutting people completely out of my life, but I started loving people from a distance. And then I started reaching people. Then I started reaching out to people. Well, I'll tell you right now, here's what happened. Your boy, Glenn Lundy, my boy, Glenn Lundy, I found him online and I got plugged into his morning show. And through that, I got connected to super achievers and I got so dialed into a morning routine. I got so obsessed with personal development. Everything in my life changed. As soon as I became brutally self-aware to know that I was the reason I didn't have the things that I wanted, and I was the one holding myself back. I found that out first, realized that. Second, took action on what's my life going to look like and who's going to be in it. And I started searching for people doing more than me. That was the magic for me.
I love it. In an industry, no, I'm not even going to say it that way. Just in the world, right? Our culture has placed so much emphasis on speed and velocity, right? Everything's like, how do I speed this up? How do I make it faster? How do I get the result faster? And I'm listening to you speak, and some people might say, well, hold on, Cirillo, I think I know where you're going to go. But 2019 was just there. He was self-destructive in 2018, 2019, and now it's 2024. And look, I mean, that's fast. He's done a ton of incredible things. But also inherent in this is that you've accepted the infinite game, that from that moment forward, where you are today, if you're similar to me, we acknowledge that we don't want to be where we are today in 10 years. Like there's this constant growth, and that takes time. And there's going to be days where it feels slower than it does fast. And there's going to be days that are the culmination of past actions that you're like, oh man, it happened so fast. How do you recommend for somebody who's listening in, who's maybe on the cusp of change, to accept that it will take the right amount of time for them?
Yeah. Well, here, that's a very, I love that question, first of all. We're never, ever, ever, ever going to reach our destination. Now, on Earth, okay? So this journey on Earth, this destination is a game, and this game is supposed to be played with people that you love, respect, admire. We're supposed to love our work, like literally, like the idea investing in ourselves to become a little bit better today than we were yesterday is a true privilege and an honor with no destination. We're a constant work in progress. The idea is to not sit still. It's to evolve. And most importantly, it's to help the younger generation below us. I don't want to say below us, I mean by age, but the younger generation, help them come up. It's our due diligence. So what I would tell somebody that might be even stuck in a rut, guess what? That plateau should be celebrated. It's crazy because you learn so much more from being in a plateau or a setback than you ever do from winning all the time. Nobody really wins all the time. It's BS. Don't believe what you see online. The Lamborghini was probably rented. Like, it's not what you see, right? But having freedom comes from being able to control time. It's not really monetary, right? But when you're doing what you love and what you were put on this planet to do, you are winning in life. And this journey and this destination, it's never complete. So knowing that is cool because you're not mastering this. Like, nobody's ever lived forever, right? We're not immortal. So I challenge everybody to just enjoy this journey, this beautiful life that we get the honor and privilege to experience every single day, man. You got to enjoy that journey. That's what I tell everybody. Just enjoy the day,
Yeah. What you're saying here resonates deeply because, similar to what you said earlier, like that you'll learn more from that plateau, from that rut than success will ever teach you. That probably this conversation would be different right out of the gates if you didn't have your plateau, because you might not have arrived at the groundedness of enjoy the journey. This is a privilege.
Yeah. Amen to that.
But we live, especially, I think, man, I think social media is a challenge these days. It can be a powerful business tool, yet it is so cluttered with words and images and videos and audio that is designed to make people feel like they are less than. You know, when I do talks, I often joke about social. I'm like, you know, social, it's that place where you post the best parts of your fake life. Right.
Right.
and I got to say, dude, what I really appreciate is the fact that you said, especially from the outside in, where I would imagine people are looking at you, always a beautiful suit, always nice clothes, nice office, the black belts and the medals and all of these things, and saying, there's no way this guy doesn't win all of the time.
I lose plenty weekly. It's enough. And that's why I learn a lot, you know.
How do you stay focused and keep discouragement, I think, is just something we all feel as human beings, the pain of failure, or the pain of, like I say this, I have a love-hate relationship with failure. I hate how it feels in the moment, but I love what comes as a result, similar to what you're saying about plateaus and that propulsion forward. But what do you recommend for somebody that just can't get out of that rut? They're so stuck in their head. Oh, I'm less than, I'll never be a Gary V, work 18 hours a day. My desire for happiness is actually getting to go home at 6 p.m. and shut off and not be worried about the office all the time. Like, what do you say to those people who maybe don't have clarity on their definition of success, and then therefore kind of get stuck in their setbacks?
You know, I first of all, let me define what I think success is, so then we can back into that, because we're all different. Like, there's a lot of people that are just okay, you know, raising their family, being very close to that, serving their God, their community, their church, and they live a happy life, and they don't have necessarily dreams of opening companies and changing the world, right? But they're content. Right. So everybody has their own calling, right? And I think success is measured really, and this is what I believe success is. I think it's doing what you want to do, when you want to do it, with who you want to do that with. That's what I think success is. There's no dollars attached. There's no physical houses or I'm living in Malibu. None of that. It's just doing what I want when I want to do it with whoever I want to do it. So if that individual is really doing what they want, maybe that individual's with their spouse and they just enjoy vegging out watching TV and they like spending their time together and they're ultimately happy, they're winning in life. So I just think we all have our own calling. You know, yeah. Now I'm weird, definitely weird, but I'm hardwired with an abundance mindset, right? I believe we can have it all. I believe that there's so much opportunity for us to have. We open our eyes and take action. And most of us that take action get the result because most people are too lazy to take action. That's my mindset. But that doesn't mean that's the right mindset. And that doesn't mean that should be everybody else's mindset either. So to answer your question, it's doing what you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want. That's winning. So whatever, back into that, whatever that looks like for an individual, you're winning in life. That's my opinion.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Dealer Playbook. And before we hop back in, I want to thank today's sponsor, AutoFi. AutoFi helps dealers like you sell smarter, not harder, on your dealership website and now in your showroom too. AutoFi solves the everyday problems dealers actually face, like bottlenecks at the sales desk, customer distrust, and decision overload. Their all-new showroom solution includes deal estimation, desking, lender routing, and an F&I menu, all in one powerful platform. Dealerships with AutoFi sell cars faster, with higher satisfaction, and more profit. In fact, dealers make an average of $641 higher back-end PVR on AutoFi deals versus their non-AutoFi deals. Go to autofi.com/dealer playbook and start selling smarter today. All right, let's hop back into this episode. That's a huge connector. I've spoken about this on other episodes. I'm similar to you. Abundance mindset. Sometimes that keeps me awake at night. Sometimes it makes me not want to get out of bed, even though I still do. And sometimes it gets me out of bed quickly. But there's a lot to unpack in this idea of abundance mindset and how that moves you. Because to your point, it looks different for everybody. Mm-hmm. But then on the opposite side of that spectrum, and really the way you've defined it, there is no opposite side of a spectrum. There's just simply the spectrum you choose to live on, which is, like I have an uncle and aunt who they're in their mid to late 70s now. They live in the same house their first house they ever bought, 900 square foot. He's got his fig tree outside. They got a couple of birds, and they travel every second year when he can save up enough from his pension to go and do it.
It's amazing.
And they're happy and they're content and they're all of these things. And I've gone through motions, Adam, where there were times in my pursuit for having it all, because I believe the same thing, that I don't know if envy is the right word, but for lack of better words, like I kind of looked in on them and I was like, dang, that actually kind of seems nice. They're not worried about anything. Like they.
Yeah.
But also, to your point, perfection doesn't exist. Yep. The game's never over. And so what I'm taking from what you're teaching us right now is be honest with yourself. Like, back to accepting responsibility, be honest with yourself and document. If you need a reminder, document for yourself what success means to you. What does it look like? Get it clear in your mind.
Yeah, I think too, people struggle with that. Like, people have a hard time really defining their purpose and defining what success looks like for them. And it does take some time, and it takes maturity as well. I mean, asking a 22-year-old to define your purpose and what does success mean, you ask that same individual 10 years later, it's going to change,
Yeah.
So, but
yeah,
I'll
right.
tell you, controlling time is the most important thing that we can do. It's so limited. And I challenge the younger generation, don't waste too much of it, because you're blinking and these decades feel like months, especially anybody who's ever been in the car business. Like, the months feel like days, the years feel like months,
Let me ask you this. What does a Christmas day look like for Adam Marburger? And I ask this somewhat tongue in cheek because there's a point on Christmas Day where I'm like, okay, time to wrap this up. I got to get back to, like, I'm constantly fighting that, like, okay, there's something else I could be doing. How do you compartmentalize?
So what we do with all of our companies actually is the last 2 weeks of the year, I tell everybody that they're not allowed to work. And if individuals want to work, don't let me know about it. Keep it to yourself. That's fine. Like, I'm bringing teams into St. Louis and we're doing forecasting early to mid-December. All of our companies will have forecasting, goals, written plans of action, accountability measures on top of those written plans of action. And then by mid-December, by December 15th, it's going to be, guys, don't call me. If you want to just chit chat, great. We're not working. So my goal is to be prepped and ready to absolutely dominate by January 1st. So on Christmas Day, I think I will read, when all the commotion and the crazy's over and all the kids have opened their gifts and all the dinners are over. It's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I'm kind of a nerd, bro. I'm honestly, in October, I'm on book number 6 right now. I don't judge. I don't want anybody to look at me like a loser. Half of them are audiobooks. I'm not that cool, but I'll probably read. I'll probably pick up, I'll probably pick up a book and read. I might have a glass of freaking red wine, maybe not. I don't know. That's
you turn off. Yeah, it's like you're able to. What I'm taking from this, which I think is so critical, is you're able to do that because you got ahead of what you knew you were going to want to do if you didn't do it. So, like, if you didn't forecast, if you didn't set goals, if you didn't get clear on the new year, then you would probably spend those 2 weeks off being like, oh my gosh, there's so many things I got to do. But you did it already.
Yeah. I mean, here, listen, one thing too, Glenn came in to my private group that I have called the Growth Zone, and he poured into us 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry. And the 67-day challenge, and I think it's brilliant. And so I've got everybody that I know on my teams. I've shared this with all my people in the local community. If you want to freaking set up a 2025, you got to start now. It's not, wait until the last week of the year to figure out what our little New Year's resolutions are. You're setting yourself up to not win. So the
Right.
whole idea is let's get prepped and ready to go. And I like what we're doing with the morning 5 this last 67 days. I've got, most of us are dialed in on it, and you have to do it. You got to be proactive.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's this this idea of I'm the actor, not the acted upon. So not a lot of people know this, but in my early 20s, I went and did mission work in the Philippines. I was there for a couple of years. I learned the language. I did all this sort of stuff. And one of the things that has stuck with me in learning the dialect that I learned is that there's 3 different ways to conjugate a sentence. There's actor focus. So the emphasis is really focused on the person performing the action. There's object focus. So the object being acted upon. And then there's location focus, which is emphasis on the location where the actor and object interacted. But it stuck with me because when I'm listening to you talk, I've written down actor focus so many times where it's like, I'm not the object. I will not be acted upon. I'm not a victim. The location doesn't really matter because I'm going to do the action anyways. Therefore, I must perpetually be the actor. I live my life in actor focus. Yeah. And I think that's the problem in the world today. I mean, like you could go to a McDonald's right now and see a group of old grumpy men complaining that their 79-cent coffee is now 82 cents. Yeah. And everything becomes a problem. But you're emphasizing for me, I'm in control. So whether I'm chilling out at Christmas reading a book or planning with my team or whatever, everything you do, Adam, is with intent. You're clear on intention to keep you as the actor. But do you have moments where despite all of that, you're like, man, there's more I could do? Like, because I find that sometimes is a challenge for me with an abundance mindset, because I'm constantly wanting to go and grab the abundance.
Yeah,
sometimes hard to shut off.
You know what? I'm not afraid to talk about this. Like, so I my whole thing is I don't want to be one of those people that are not 100% transparent, and I'm going to tell the truth at all times, no matter what, no matter how it makes me look too, because I'm very strong in who I am.
Truth is the truth.
So I suffer from a situation where I don't feel completed. Like, I've done some cool stuff. I've been blessed. God's given me these abilities since it all started with winning Automotive News 40 Under 40 2018 that spiraled into building a very massive company that spiraled into now speaking all over again. I don't even know how I got here, to be honest. And then I went, I get a black belt in jiu-jitsu, which to get a black belt in jiu-jitsu, it's very rare. Like there's 10,000 in the world. So I thought I would feel something. Here's where I'm going with this. I thought I would feel something. I don't feel anything. And it's not that I feel bad. I don't feel negative about myself, but I have zero feeling of accomplishment. Man, it's so scary to me. And so don't get me wrong. I talked to a therapist about this. I'm not afraid. By the way, I'm not afraid to talk to people about this.
Maybe you're my therapist. Now, just share with me everything they say, because this resonates with me deeply.
I don't feel accomplished. Just don't feel accomplished. And I also feel so weird and awkward when people stroke my ego and tell me things that they're proud of. It feels so unnatural and awkward. So not only I don't feel accomplished, when I receive praise, I feel awkward. It's bizarre to me. And I don't know. Yeah. So the scary part for me is here, close the loop on this rant. The scariest part of it is what's the end result? I know I want to grow, go, bring people up, help people, serve people, help my community. I want to do all these things, but when's enough? What's the real end goal with all this? When am I going to feel like, Adam, you did a good job, bro? Give yourself some credit. When? I don't know, because I've never experienced that, ever.
I feel like Joe, I think Joe, my producer, sent you a copy of my journal before this episode.
We've got similarities, bro. I know your story, and I know you and I have talked, and we got definitely some similarities amongst us. So
yeah, I mean, you're right. I think so. Sunday morning, I was sitting writing in my journal, Similar to Morning Five, everyday gratitudes, goals, these sorts of things. I've done that. I mean, it's kind of funny, actually. Check this out. I've never gone off camera before. My parents came to visit. So most people know I moved from Canada to the States. The last time my folks came to visit, they brought me, the bin that parents have. They're like, we don't want your crap anymore. That bin. Yeah. And in it was my first journal that I ever had. And it's embarrassing. So I've kept a journal pretty much my whole life. I think my first entry here, November 7th, 1993. So I would have been, 11, something like that. And so I'm sitting here writing in my journal the other morning, and this memory came to my mind, which was, like 15, 16 years ago. I'm driving from where we live in Canada to Spokane, Washington with my then toddler, my wife, and we're in the very first brand new car we had ever purchased. Like, we were blown away. It was a 2010 Dodge Grand Caravan, Canada Value Pack Edition, whatever the heck that means.
Nice.
And during that drive, and I'm making, I don't know, 30 grand a year, 25, 30 grand a year, but I'm blown away at this thing that I could drive a brand new car. And it's the best. I'm like, it was so easy to get to cars. Yeah, I'm just ecstatic. And then my mind during this drive goes to what's in the future? What's for me? What would 100 grand a year look like? What would 200 grand? And obviously when you're in that position and you're newly married and you're not making a lot, I'll admit, monetary focused for me in that moment. But I'm like, man, life, fast forward to today, having well surpassed the revenue and all of that, right? Like, I know you can understand. I realized, holy smoke, I have far exceeded the height of my dream 15 years, 16 years ago. I've far exceeded it. And to your point, all I can think about is what's next.
Yeah.
Like, there's no level of contentment in this moment of realization of like, I'm living bigger than I ever thought I could ever live. Yeah. So my question is, and maybe that's the conundrum for those that are watching and listening, somebody, give me the therapy I need. To your question, to your point, when is enough enough?
Yeah.
Like, when do we, and what is the, Adam, what is the opportunity cost of never realizing?
Yeah.
Like, that's the one that freaks me out. I'm like, what if I just genuinely never get to a point where what I have accomplished is enough? That's the one that scares me.
You know what I've done to help me with some of this? Like, I am madly in love with work. Like, so everything that I do for every business of mine, I love what I do. There's no such thing as work. Right. I am not going to sacrifice my time for my kids. So, like, for instance, no matter what, I put them first, and I don't miss things. So for me, it's like, I'm going to continue to this crazy abundance mindset, and I'm going to continue to go without sacrificing my time for my kids. As long as I can do that, I feel I'm doing the right thing. In my heart, I do. I feel like I'm doing the right thing because I give my family enough time, my kiddos. It's critical that I'm not missing parent-teacher conference. I had to move meetings around last week with dealer principals and dental practice owners. One of these dental practice owners was a 12 rooftop, and I had to cancel the meeting. And I did it and I had no problem doing it. I double booked. It was an accident, and we rescheduled that meeting for today, by the way. The meeting still happened. The world didn't end.
Did it feel like it was in the moment?
Yeah.
Did it feel like it was going to end in the moment for a minute though?
It did. I stress out just like you do. I had anxiety, like, great. I double booked. Now I got to cancel on a big opportunity. But regardless, I'm not missing my daughter's parent-teacher conference. So it was a non-negotiable anyway. I just somehow got double booked. It does happen. I think we've all been there before. So.
If you could leave us with, I mean, this is how fast the time goes, dude. This needs to be this needs to be like a Rogan style long podcast. This may be, we'll have to fact check this. No, we won't. It's my show. I can do whatever the flip I want.
Yeah.
This might be the most real conversation ever, because we just got real. We just got real. And I appreciate that. In closing, to summarize this, for the people that are leaning in right now and really picking up what you're putting down, what thought or sentiment do you want to leave us with?
I love that. There's a lot of thoughts in my mind right now. Here's the main thing. Here's the main thought. And this is the thought that has been a repetitive meeting that I've had for the last 6 weeks with so many of my teams. The thought is to identify what you're absolutely madly in love with and you're good at, identify that, and take crazy action on this for the rest of the year. Make 2025, we're blinking, we're here. The problem we have, I'm not going to get Grant Cardone on you here, but I do believe in his principle of taking 10x massive action. I see it in my local community. I see it in my businesses. I see it not as much in my businesses. I see it in a lot of industry where people are just kind of casual in their pursuit of their work and their vocation. They're just casual. I challenge people to be committed and not interested. There's a big difference between committed and being interested. Herm Edwards, I had the opportunity to hear him speak at Reynolds and Reynolds. Great NFL player, great NFL coach. The guy's known for saying we play to win the game, but he made a statement. He said, are you interested or are you committed? And it resonated with me. So I challenge people to look at their lives. Are you interested in being great and being a better version of yourself? Or are you committed? Because those are two very, very different things. So identify what it is that you love and what you're great at. Isolate it and take crazy action on it, because your neighbor's not going to, your cousin's not going to, your friends that you sometimes think your close friends are not going to. You have to take action on that thing, and then good stuff shows up. Period.
I love it, man. I love it. I love this episode. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. How can those listening or watching connect with you?
So Facebook, there's probably 25 profiles. Type in Adam Marburger. There's a blue check mark on mine. For some reason, Meta will not take down these fake profiles. It drives me nuts.
That's because they wanted you. That was the lead magnet, dude. They wanted you to pay for the check mark.
Facebook with the blue check mark. LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm not great on Instagram, but I'm there. Ticky-tack. I don't really get on Ticky-tack.
No Maybe dancing on TikTok.
So yeah, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can find me.
My man, thanks so much for joining me on the Dealer Playbook.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Dealer Playbook podcast. If you enjoyed tuning in, please subscribe, share, and hit that like button. You can also join us and the DPB community on social media. Check back next week for a new Dealer Playbook episode. Thanks so much for joining.